I'm pretty sure I can see fire through the blanket right now. What's going on, guys? Today we're gonna be testing out some Temu fire suppression equipment, including this nifty little plastic gadget. I have no idea if it works, but this is supposed to go into your hood in the event of an engine fire. It's supposed to just put it out. But before we hop into actual testing, let's hop back to the studio. We're gonna open everything up and show you what we got. Now, just for fun, I see these things on there all the time. We have ourselves a 4K action camera from Temu. It was extremely cheap, and they call it the Go Plus Cam Pro. So if you block out the middle letters there, it is clearly a GoPro type knockoff. I'm curious, we're gonna play with this just for fun. And a couple other things. This right here, well, first off, it feels like glass. It sounds like glass, but apparently this is to start fires. So we're gonna check this out. This is supposed to be one of those things you can keep in your camping bag and you light it on fire and then it starts a fire. My concern about this is, what are the chances this is just plexiglass and they're just trying to get us to use plastic to start a fire? If it is, we should be able to tell from the smoke, so we'll be checking that out later. So real quick, let's go over the lineup. Pop Pro 4-in-1 fire extinguisher, water-based. Very curious about this. It feels legitimate. Again, we'll open these up and go through them more in detail after we get through them. Here, we have some type of electric car fire extinguisher. I have no idea if this thing is gonna work, but this one really has my attention because of its size and how it's supposed to work. Now, you'll notice we do have multiples of most of these. For this one here, we have 3. This one here, we have 2. This box over here, we have 4. We'll get to those in a second. And then next up, we also have ourselves 3 different fire blankets. Now, we're gonna test a couple of things with this. We're gonna try to put out some fires with it. We're gonna see how well it will stop heat from passing through, in case you need to use it to protect yourself. And then on the fire suppression side, last but not least, we have some aerosol fire extinguisher. This one claims to be a 6-in-1 for basically everything. Now, we're gonna be testing this on just about everything today except for electrical fires. I don't have a great way to set up an electrical fire test at this time, but maybe in the future we will. So on top of that, in the manner of safety and car safety, I also picked these up. I thought they were kind of cool. So we're gonna go ahead and start with these. These are basically road safety pucks. It comes with 6 in this nice little carrying case. I mean, quality-wise, it looks pretty good. But upon further inspection, if you buy these things and throw them in your car, when you go to need them, you're gonna be pretty disappointed for one simple reason. On the listing itself, I did not see anywhere that it mentioned that it needs batteries, and it does not just need batteries, they need 3 AAA batteries per puck. So aside from the fact that these are a pretty good deal, they have a nice rubber standing and a ton of LEDs, and they're bright, I'll show you guys in a second. You're talking 18 AAA batteries installed ahead of time. So if you do decide you want to buy these, just please note, they need a lot of AAA batteries. So coming into it right here, we have a whole bunch of different modes. Now, the basic idea of these is you can either magnetically attach them to your car in case you break down on the side of the road, which honestly, having a light like this is a fantastic idea. You can also set them on the road near your car as opposed to a flare or something similar. Going through the modes though, I mean, you can see this thing is extremely bright and it will get people's attention. I love the idea of this. I just don't love the execution of how many batteries this takes and the type of batteries. All right, next up, we are going to check out what comes in this box right here. So again, guys, prices are on the screen. This is the LACFU Fire Extinguisher 6-in-1 13B USFE-100. So a little bit of history with me and fire suppression. I was in the US Navy for 5 years, and we did a lot of training on fire safety because there are different kinds of fires, and it is extremely important to understand how to put out each one. Now, I may not retain all of that information to this day, but it is very important to understand what puts out what kind of fire for your own safety. If you try to use the wrong kind of thing to put out a fire, i.e. water on an oil fire, well, you're gonna get a bigger fire. So what comes in this box here, we have the 2 different extinguishers. I don't exactly see how many ounces are on here. It doesn't appear to be labeled anywhere, but they do feel quite heavy. We also have some mounting, which is really cool. I like that that's included. So this can either be mounted in drywall. You can see they include some drywall anchors. Not exactly the best of the drywall anchors, but they would work. And then you also have these 4 posts right here. So these are going to mount into the wall and allow you to connect the rubber standing to them to secure them basically to any wall. Or the option that I like the most, you have the Velcro straps. Cool part about the Velcro straps, if you own a Jeep or anything with any kind of roll cage, you simply, well, you wrap it around the roll cage itself and you Velcro it. And then the inside is the actual net where the fire extinguisher goes. All right, coming up next, we have the fire blanket. You can see it also comes in a nice pouch. Has some instructions on here as well. All right, so coming right in, this is the fire blanket. It is a pretty decent size. And it appears to be the right material, but we won't know that until we really put some flames to it. It has a decent thickness to it, a little bit of stretch, as most fire blankets do. So we have 3 of these to test because, you know, one might not be enough. We hope one is enough because that is the intended job of a fire blanket. All right, next up we have the PopFro 4-in-1 water-based fire extinguisher. And it is more of your traditional type of fire extinguisher. Now, another cool aspect to this one, it also comes with a mount. So this in here has a single plastic mount right here that you can either run screws into the wall, or it includes some double-sided Velcro tape, or something like this you can also mount in your vehicle. Again, a lot of this stuff I'm focusing on, for me personally, it's going to be used in the Jeep, just as a safety precaution. My current Jeep, I just have a normal fire extinguisher laying in the back seat on the floor that I haven't actually checked in a long time. That leads me into my next point with these ones here. While I can feel that it is full, not a single one of these has a gauge of any type on it that is going to let you know exactly how much is left in here. So just be forewarned. There is a chance that some of these could eventually lose pressure over time due to a small leak or a problem with it, but that is the difference between these and fire extinguishers you normally see around. The holder does appear to hold it pretty nicely. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall out, but yet it's easy to pull out if you need it. Next up is the one that this one's really got me curious. So this is supposed to be an in-car fire extinguisher. You can see right here, the name is just car fire extinguisher. It's by a company called August, and it is supposed to put out types A, B, C, and K fires. Shelf life of 10 years. It does come with a Velcro strip on the back, 2 sensing wires, and then apparently this is where the actual agent will come out. It will discharge for a total of 6 seconds. I do like the fact that it has all these details on there, but I'm just very curious to see a small one like this work. I've never tested anything like these ones ever. And last but not least, we have the Action Camera 4K. Now this one here, again, I just bought this because I thought it would be kind of fun to show off in the video. If it gets real close to the fire and doesn't make it, I won't be too upset. Included in here, first thing I dislike, we have ourselves a micro HDMI port in there. But from the price on this thing, I imagine there's going to be a lot of it I probably don't care for. It does have a nice releasing mechanism on the waterproof area. It does claim to have Wi-Fi. You have the battery slot right here in the bottom, as well as an included micro SD card. The included micro SD card is a 32 gigabyte. If this was actually 4K, like my other GoPros, my Hero 12 and 13, that would record a total of about 40 minutes worth of footage. It feels light, it feels cheap, but who knows? We might be surprised, guys. And then, of course, like all of these GoPro knockoffs, as I will call them, it has a whole bunch of GoPro type mounts. So on the bright side, if I don't end up using this camera any further, I can reuse all the mounts. All right, that's enough time in the studio. Let's head out and light some things on fire. All right, guys, first up, we're gonna be testing the fire blanket. Now, our tests are gonna be somewhat scientific. So first test, we're gonna take a basic lighter and see if it survives that. If it does, we're gonna kinda step it up a notch and go right to an acetylene torch. I mean, it's smoking a lot more than I expected. I feel like it's transferring a lot more heat than I would normally expect from a fire blanket. The other side is definitely cooler than the front side, and it didn't catch on fire, so that's a good start. But my first initial guess is this is not gonna survive an acetylene torch. All right, guys, right here we can see the actual blanket again. We're gonna hit it, see what happens. That's not a great sign. Let's try that again. I hope you weren't hoping this was gonna save your life. Okay, there is a bright side to this. Even though it melted straight through, it didn't catch on fire. This, we see this. This looks really bad. But this is not really a great test. I'll tell you why. This is MAP gas. MAP gas burns at like 5,000 degrees. And these blankets are designed to hold about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So the fact that this burned directly through isn't really any kind of direct notation. We'll have a little better idea on what this will do once we actually put a fire in here and see if it'll put it out, which is what we're gonna do next. All right, guys, for a simple and more realistic test, now we're gonna use the same blanket and just smother the fire. We let it burn for a bit to make sure it'll stay going, but let's see how it does. Now, it sounds like it's still burning. I don't think it's putting out the fire at all, and I'm kind of concerned about the fumes that might be coming off of this blanket. But we'll give it a second. I know you're kind of supposed to let it smother out, so we'll give it a minute. Okay, it's been a couple minutes. Bright side, it did not burn through the blanket, but there is a lot of smoke. I'm pretty sure I can see fire through the blanket right now. Right about there. But we're gonna pull it off and we'll check it out. Oh, I mean, it actually put it out, almost. Obviously, when you have red hot coals, guys, it's gonna reignite, but it did put it out. Again, these are not direct use case situations. We just wanna see if the blanket will survive. First, we're gonna test is the 4-in-1 Pop Fro. You pull this out, and then you hold down the handle to spray. I'm gonna do it here in a second. But this sat on top of the little fire for quite a while, and it didn't burn through at normal fire temperatures. Now, we're using little fires because these are little bottles. They're made to carry in your vehicle. A little bit of a gas leak catches on fire, brakes catch on fire, something. That's what this is gonna be for, hopefully. All right, let's put it out. I mean, that was almost immediate. That works pretty good. Leaks on me a little bit. I can see a little bit more fire inside. I didn't fully spray it down, but man, that worked really fast. I'm gonna stand back a little further and I'm gonna test how long the spray pattern is basically. That's a good 7-8 feet. Aside from the fact that this one leaks all over itself, yeah, that works. That's a win. It's easy to use. Without reading instructions, anybody can figure it out in just a few seconds. All right, we're gonna get this fire back going and we will test out the yellow can next. All right, guys, next up, we're gonna be using the Lock Fu fire extinguisher. This is a 6-in-1. We're gonna be testing this one with oil as well here in a bit. This one's in a compressed air type of aerosol can. Hopefully it's a non-flammable aerosol. And then here in a bit, make sure to stick around. We're gonna be testing out the electronic engine mount ones. All right, so I'm gonna start further back this time. I wanna see what kind of range it has and how effective it really is. Obviously, this one is super easy. You pull the cap, push down the button. Here we go. You know, this one appears to shoot out almost the exact same liquid that's in the red can. It doesn't quite tell me much other than 13B, but it put out the fire just as quick, and it feels like this can honestly has even more in it, and there's none dripping down the side. Now, if you're trying to put out a fire in an emergency situation, that's obviously going to be the least of your concerns, but you can see with the little amount that I sprayed, the fire came back up. But I do have full confidence this will put out a fire, no problem. So again, for being a cheap alternative on normal wood type fires, it works fine. Here in a bit, we're also gonna be testing it on some car type materials, some foam, some fabrics, and some rubbers. We're not gonna be using a lot of the rubber type material because it's not exactly great for the environment, but we wanna give it a real test. All right, guys, for this one, we are testing the little plastic guy right here. We have it attached to the bottom of a board. Now, the main idea of this one right here is to go on the upper side of your hood inside in case there's an engine fire. So right now we're holding it about 4 feet above. We're gonna slowly lower it and see if it sets it off. This thing is supposed to go off around 338 degrees. See, at this point, I'd be a little concerned. It's pretty close to that fire and nothing yet.
Closer.
And at this point, the flames are touching it. Oh, there it goes.
That was
And it caught on fire.
pretty cool.
Okay, so it put out absolutely nothing. I mean, guys, that thing put out literally no part of this fire. Obviously, it's a big fire. We're gonna try it on the little fire next. All right, guys, for this next one, we built kind of a totally scientific jig, but this is gonna simulate a car hood because this is supposed to put out fires in an engine bay. So now we're gonna take it and we're gonna set it right in the fire.
You have a good view?
Yep. Again, guys, the fire, I mean, it's in the fire and it does take a while to go off. That part makes me a little nervous. Like, how long is it going to take this thing to stop an actual fire, if it even can?
Start doing the handstands and stuff.
All right, at this point, it would now have melted off of the hood and just be sitting in the fire. Okay, once again, guys, it caught on fire itself and the fire is still completely going. You can see this smoke kind of everywhere. All right, guys, these are gonna be a huge no-go. Not only do they do absolutely nothing to suppress fire, but they actually catch on fire themselves. All right, guys, so the August car fire extinguisher. I know it wasn't the most scientific test in the world, but all of the stuff that was in here went right into this fire. And it not only did not stop the fire, it caught on fire itself and made the fire worse. So this is dangerous. Do not buy this, at least not this brand by this company. Honestly, this is why we do these tests. If somebody were to try to rely on this in their car, it's not gonna help you. It's gonna make the fire worse. All right, guys, next up, we're gonna try a couple of quick materials to simulate an actual car fire. It's not the most accurate, but it's gonna give you a better idea as to whether or not these two sprayers we've already tested will put out fires on fabrics, rubbers, and then we're gonna test what I would call one of the most important use cases somebody might use this for, and that's an oil fire in the house. All right, guys, here's the test setup right here. We have some fabric, we have some rubber / foam, and then we have this cushion material right here. Now, I know this isn't the most scientific test, but I wanna know if it'll put it out. So let's put in the fire and check it out. Give it a minute to burn. Yeah, if you're sitting in your car and this stuff lights up, you can see sometimes this stuff goes pretty quick. Now, a lot of modern cars are a lot more resistant, but here we go. Oh, yeah. Again, you guys can still see fire popping up on the other side. I didn't spray that spot. I was aiming at the foam material, but it put that stuff out in an absolute second. And I don't really want to leave this stuff burning for very long because this stuff is horrible for the environment, but you can see, no problem holding it. It is out. So again, the Pop Pro Form 1 for a car type fire and stuff, I would highly recommend this one. Now, again, we still have the big test. Will it put out an actual oil fire? And we're gonna be testing that after we run the same scenario with the yellow one. All right, guys, we're gonna set this in the other side of the fire because, well, this side's still covered and all that stuff. So here we go. All right, 3, 2, 1. Just a quick burst. Now, keep in mind, there's still gonna be hot coals underneath that one because of where I set it. So we could always come in here and give her another blast, but I see no remnants of fire left. It put it out, and that's kind of what we're looking for. We're not looking for something that'll put out a whole house fire. We're looking for something to use in a quick emergency, if you run into it. All right, now we're gonna heat up some oil. We're gonna put it over top of the main fire, and we're gonna see if these can put it out. I feel like I have to say this. This stuff is dangerous. Do not try this at home, okay? Because of my training in the military, I am somewhat of a professional, but not entirely. So don't do what I do. Just watch the video, and if you take something away from it, that's great. All right, guys, these right here are the fire starter materials. You can see they're supposed to be a fire starter glass. They're literally just little tiny rectangles of glass, but I don't know if they're actually glass. They kind of sound like it. They really do sound like glass. So we're just gonna light one up here real quick. I wanna see what it does. Now, keep in mind, if the smoke coming off of this is black, there's a really good chance this is plexiglass, and you should not use these to start fire. All right. Well, it takes forever to get burning. It's very hard to burn, and it has a horrible plastic smell, and it goes out really easy. I'm pretty sure this is plexiglass, guys, so please don't buy this fire starter stuff. I mean, it looks like it's melting. Honestly, it smells like super glue. It's probably some kind of acrylic, but not a good idea. Let's not do that. All right, so you never know when your friends are gonna be in the backyard cooking pierogies over a fire with their kitchen pans, and something bad happens.
911 reports state while filming a YouTube video, the entire house went up in flames.
In a more realistic scenario, you're inside your house, you're cooking, somehow the oil bubbles over and catches on fire. Well, that's what we're gonna test with these. We're gonna see if it'll put it out. On fire, let's see if this will put it out. Woo! She put it out. Hey, it actually works, guys. Okay, now we're gonna set up this entire ridiculous test one more time for the yellow one. We'll be back in a minute. All right, guys, we're on the next one. Let's see how it goes. You know, this one worked, but it was a little slower. Definitely mixes really well with the oil and puts it out. But the red one was a little bit faster for at-home oil fires. So the fire blanket itself will work with light fires, but I really don't know what else to use it for. Now, as for the extinguishers, little electric one, we know that's trash. That's more likely to start your car on fire. Both the red and the yellow put out everything they said they would that we could test. We didn't test any electrical fires here. I don't really have a proper setup for it. That's gonna be all for this video. I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.